So taking further this concept of negotiation, can you give us some examples of how we can use this skill of negotiation in our day-to-day life, where we can just use it for our daily life?
You can use invisible negotiation strategies with anybody for anything. Whether the transaction is a few hundred rupees or a few crore rupees, the process is the same. So I'm going to talk about an example which might appear to be a very minor example. I don't think it's a minor example. I think it is a very good example of how the strategy can be used. And if you look at the structure of the strategy, it's the same structure whether you're buying a vegetable or whether you're buying a company for a few $1 billion, it's exactly the same. And it really, really works. We have a lot of data to prove it. But I want to give this example because I think it's something that plenty of people can relate to, and just makes it very, very simple.
And what is that?
So there was a strike of Ola and Uber for the last 14 days in Mumbai.
Yeah.
I had an appointment with the chief executive of a multinational company, and I needed to go from Sion to Lower Parel. It's a distance of about 40 minutes. Because there was a strike, everybody was acting very pricey. It was very difficult to even locate a vacant cab. I luckily managed to locate a vacant cab. The driver was having a BD. He wasn't looking at me. And I asked him, will you go to Lower Parel? And he says no without even looking at me. Now, plenty of people intuitively would get very pissed off if somebody spoke to them that way.
Of course.
But if you looked at the previous video, you know that no is just the beginning. So the minute he said no, I was very happy. Right? Because now I've got his instinctive, impulsive, emotional response out of the way. Now he's in a much more comfortable position to talk to me because he's already said no to me. He's under no pressure. He's made no commitment to me. So I'm very happy. I'm thinking, okay, now this is great. This is a great opportunity for me to use the negotiation skills by Chris Voss.
So let me become Chris Voss and talk to him.
Absolutely. So his system one thinking is out of the way. No is out of the way. So now what's my next move? My next move is to be as positive as I can in that circumstance.
Yes.
Okay, now you got to understand the circumstance. I have an appointment with the chief executive of a multinational company. I am in Sion. It's extremely busy. It's extremely crowded. It's extremely hot. I'm standing in the blazing sun by the side of a taxi. I have a wonderful aroma of BD smoke satiating my nostrils. And this guy is talking to me without even looking at me. And the car is, by the way, as people know, the normal cabs in Mumbai, they smell really good. So that's the additional wonderful smell that's coming from there. It's very difficult to be positive, but it's important to stay positive in a negotiation because it improves the efficiency of the other person by 31%.
31%,
yeah.
That's huge.
So it looks like a very small piece of data, but it's very powerful, and it looks easy to do, but it's not easy to do, as you can imagine in this circumstance. So I speak to him. Obviously I speak in Hindi, and I said, "आप क्यों नहीं जाओगे Lower Parel? आपको अच्छा भाड़ा मिलेगा वहां से, और मैं एक्स्ट्रा भी देने को तैयार हूं." He gives me the most irrational answer. He says, "No, there's too much traffic."
Too much traffic by a taxi driver.
Yeah.
How ironical can that get?
Yeah, it's like Michael Phelps saying, "I don't want to swim today because I'll get wet." And then you shouldn't be a swimmer. So this guy obviously had a bad day or something, and he's just in a bad mood. So it's all the more important for me to keep the positivity going. And I'm trying to now get some rationality into it because I presume all his emotional venting is off. by talking all this irrational stuff. So now I tell him ट्रैफिक तो सब जगह है मुंबई में, और अगर ये रूट पे ज्यादा ट्रैफिक है तो गूगल मैप्स में तो दिख जाएगा. So I just speak this in a positive way. I'm not trying to call him out for being irrational and saying, hey, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm keeping it just a light, cool conversation between two human beings. Right? I'm not acting as if I have rights over him.
Yes.
That's probably what somebody else would have done. That's what I would have done if I wasn't aware of these negotiation strategies. I could have said, how dare you? You don't have a legal right to say no. Or I could have sat in the cab and said, okay, now either we go there or we go to a police station. I didn't want to do all of that because I thought this could be more efficient. So this entire conversation just gets over in about 30 to 45 seconds. And then I tell him that, so do you want to go? So the whole tone is that you're the boss. You're under no obligation to take me. You're the boss. You're the authority. Now he's cooled off totally. He said no to me. There's no commitment. And I think he's at the cost of being melodramatic. I think he's developed an emotional attachment in these 30 to 45 seconds. You're just nice with the person and he feels like doing something for you. He then probably feels bad if he doesn't help you out and he thinks you're in trouble. Even though it's just 30 to 45 seconds, I think with these strategies, a human connection is formed. So I finally asked him, so, aap jaoge ke nahi? And he said, jaunga, come in. And he did not charge a single rupee extra. Okay? So it just appears to be luck. It appears to be random. It appears to be like a big deal is being made out of a small conversation. But actually, there are very, very deep lessons.
So small talk does play a big role.
Small talk is very, very big in terms of a human connect. So there are plenty of strategies used here, right from getting a no from him, being positive, not trying to act super rational, not trying to act intimidating. But the biggest lesson I want to highlight here is the importance of staying positive, which is something very strongly recommended by Chris Voss, ex-head of FBI hostage negotiation.
So this is not a spiritual message. It's like a very scientific reason of being positive.
Yes, absolutely. So positive thinking, I think, has been misused. Many people talk too much about positive thinking as if you're supposed to be positive thinking. Do positive thinking every time and every second of your life, which is totally wrong. But here is a point where you benefit a lot by being positive and by just going a little easy, by relaxing a little, by calming yourself down and calming the other person down, and it can have massive results.
Great. So no matter how high or low the stakes are, these strategies work in every situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. As I said, whether it's a transaction which involved a few hundred rupees, or if it's a transaction which involves a few $1 billion, or as you saw in one of the previous videos, a kidnapper, a hardcore murderer, or a terrorist actually let go of somebody's life. He was going to kill somebody, and these negotiation strategies were used, and he let that hostage go, and he dropped his demand for $10 million. So it really works. It just appears to be very tiny, but then if it's not there, it can have a severe backlash.
Great. So to know more, let's watch some more videos.
Yep. And stay positive.